So, well, we've got a very significant date there, 1654, matched by over here, some initials here, PWD. What do you think about the date? Is it 1654?
I've no proof except that we know it's been in the family since around about 1800. So if the date is faked, it was faked some time prior to 1800.
Well, I can put you out of your misery immediately. It is a really good, genuine piece of furniture from the 1650, 1660 period. There's so many pieces that we have on the Antiques Roadshow have the wrong date on. Usually the Victorian is putting a date on, but I see no reason to doubt this. And there are one or two things that we can almost, perhaps in a way, back it up with. Have you ever thought about what these little flowers are, which I guess are in ivory? They could be bone, but I think they're ivory. They're tulips.
Ah.
And of course, when you think of this period in the 17th century, the tulipomania started in the 1610, 1620 period. And then there was like the South Sea bubble, the whole market just collapsed. But people were losing fortunes on buying tulip bulbs.
There was some suggestion in the family that it was Flemish, and then another suggestion that it was actually made in England by Flemish craftsmen.
Certainly a lot of Flemish craftsmen came over to England and really taught us, the English, about the art of cabinet making. The idea of putting veneers on top of wood, and you can see very clearly here, and this to me is fascinating. I do love broken bits of furniture. You can see how thick this veneer is. It's well over 2 millimeters thick, cut by hand, of course. And why is there such a small amount of this dark wood, which is ebony? Well, the reason is because it's imported from South America or India, and very expensive. And this is the very, very beginning of veneering, literally. I mean, 1654 is almost the earliest piece I've ever seen recorded of people actually veneering furniture. We've got ebony and ivory here, but look at these, all these bright translucent pieces here. They're little pieces of mother of pearl. And can you imagine that in the candlelight? In very dark rooms and just glinting. It would be quite jewel-like and rather nice. But what I want to do with this is I want to put it in a historical context because it's such a great piece of furniture. Think of it, and we're in the Cromwellian period. What I love about it, and I won't open it right up, but this drawer is just so deep, and it's for one very particular purpose.
I've been waiting for you to perhaps explain what the purpose of the whole thing is.
Well, you're a cavalier or a roundhead, and certainly a cavalier. You come in and you take your great big hat off and it's put in there for you, your big plumed hat. It's exactly where it would go in there. That's why the deep bonnet chest. And they had them later in the 18th century too, but it's very rare to see one at this period. And also, when we look in here, again, I won't open the drawers, but you've got the drawers here. Why are these drawers rather awkwardly hidden behind the cupboards? Because what do you put in there? Your precious materials, your linens and tapestries and textiles, which is one of the most expensive things apart from jewellery you could have at this time. So it's made very much for a purpose.
So any ideas on PWD?
I don't know who PWD is. I'm sure it was a wedding or marriage gift at some stage. I don't know what it cost then, but we've got to try and think of the value today, which would be, well, I think if that came up for auction, because it's so good and despite the condition, would you be unhappy if I said between £3,000 and £4,000, something like that?
No, I think that sort of ties up with what we thought. I'm not worried about the value.
Lovely idea, thank you.